One moment you're calm and collected. The next you're snapping at your friend, shouting in traffic, or stewing over something that happened hours ago. Anger, it creeps in unexpectedly. But why does this happen? Why do we feel anger? And how can we stop it from controlling us? Welcome to another episode of the Decoding Emotion series. Today we dive deep into anger, exploring it through the lenses of philosophy, psychology, and science. Together we'll uncover its origins, understand what fuels it, and most importantly, discover practical strategies to manage and transform it. Let's begin. To understand anger, we must walk through life itself, from the raw cries of infancy to the silent resentments of old age. In the beginning, anger is pure and primal. A newborn doesn't hold grudges. They don't plot revenge. They cry because their world is simple. They are uncomfortable, hungry, tired. They don't understand patience. They don't understand later. To them, the world should respond now. At this stage, anger is not about injustice or betrayal. It is about unmet needs. And just as quickly as it flares up, it fades when comfort is restored. As toddlers, anger becomes louder, messier, and more dramatic. This is the age of tantrums, pure unfiltered explosions of frustration. Why? Because for the first time, we are learning about no. A child's world is still small, but their desires are growing. They are learning rules, boundaries, but they don't like them. They feel anger, but they don't yet have the words to explain why. Unlike adults, children do not hold on to their anger. It comes like a storm and passes just as quickly. For kids, anger is no longer just about "I want." It's about "that's not fair." This is the stage where the concept of justice takes root. At this stage, children begin to compare themselves to others. They see inequality, favoritism, unfairness. And with that awareness comes a new form of anger, not just against rules, but against injustice. This is where anger first starts to become something deeper, something tied to ethics, principles, and the shaping of identity. Then comes adolescence, the age of rebellion. Anger becomes personal. It's no longer just about fairness. It's about identity, independence, and a world that suddenly feels restrictive. A teenager's anger is often misunderstood. It's not just mood swings. It's the frustration of wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen, wanting to be free. By adulthood, anger changes again. It becomes quieter, but heavier. Here, anger is not about tantrums. It's about silent frustrations, unspoken resentments, and the pressure of a world that never stops demanding more. Anger often comes from exhaustion from responsibility, from unfulfilled dreams, from the feeling of time slipping away. At this stage, anger becomes introspective, not just at the world, but at ourselves. As people age, their approach to anger shifts, patience grows, ego softens, and perspective deepens. Many learn to let go, choosing peace over conflict. Some grow bitter, resentful of lost time. With experience comes wisdom, leading to greater acceptance, compassion, and emotional balance. In the end, anger is a fire, but we decide whether to let it burn or let it fade into warmth. Philosophers have studied anger for centuries. Let's start with what they had to say about this intense emotion. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius saw anger as a loss of control. They believed that what happens around us isn't what angers us, it's our interpretation of events. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our reaction, rather than external events. Buddhism sees anger as destructive. Buddha taught that anger arises from attachment, ignorance, and unmet desires. It's like holding a burning coal, expecting to throw it at someone, but in the process, you burn yourself. To overcome anger, the Buddha emphasized mindfulness and compassion, learning to let go of desires and seeing others' actions with understanding, not hostility. Aristotle, on the contrary, believed that anger is a natural and necessary emotion when we encounter injustice. He said, anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Anger for Aristotle isn't always bad. It's how we express it and the purpose behind it that matters. Misusing anger leads to harm, but mastering it can lead to justice and change. Psychology tells us that anger is a survival mechanism. It's part of our fight or flight response, designed to protect us. But why do we get angry so easily, even in situations that aren't life-threatening? Psychologists identify 3 primary triggers of anger. Let's explore each one with examples you might relate to. When someone insults us, undermines us, or disrespects us, our self-esteem feels attacked. Anger acts as a defense mechanism to protect our sense of worth. Anger often comes from reality not matching our expectations, whether it's someone being late, a broken promise, or just a bad day. The gap between what we expect and what we experience creates frustration. Sometimes anger hides deeper emotions like fear, sadness, or vulnerability. It's easier to be angry than to admit we're hurt or scared. Psychologists describe anger as a cycle. A trigger sparks an emotional reaction. Then we rationalize why we're angry, which often escalates the emotion. Breaking the cycle requires awareness and interrupting the pattern. When you get angry, your brain activates the amygdala, the emotional center responsible for fight or flight. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood your system. Your body prepares for battle. Your heart rate and blood pressure spike. Blood rushes to your muscles. Your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, takes a back seat, leaving you impulsive and reactive. The key to managing anger is calming the amygdala and reactivating the prefrontal cortex. The good news? Science shows this is possible with practice. Here are some practical tips backed by philosophy, psychology, and science to help you overcome anger. When anger strikes, pause. Take deep breaths. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. This calms the amygdala and gives your prefrontal cortex time to engage. Instead of focusing on the negative, reframe the situation. Ask, is this worth my peace? Can I see this differently? Reframing helps you let go of unnecessary anger. Many triggers for anger come from trying to control the uncontrollable. Letting go frees you from frustration and brings peace. Anger is a natural emotion, but it doesn't have to control us. By understanding its triggers, acknowledging its presence without judgment, and practicing mindfulness, we can transform anger into a tool for growth rather than a source of suffering. The key is not to suppress it, but to channel it wisely and live a life of peace and understanding. Pause for a moment and reflect. How has anger influenced your decisions in life? Share it with us in the comments. Your story might give someone a new perspective. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to the Infinite Within channel. Join us for more reflections on life, emotions, and the timeless truths that connect us all. And don't forget to share it with the people you care about. You never know who might need this message today.